Hi guys, I'm back again with continuing on chapter 2. We're going to break this up into 3 different parts. This is going to be section 2.3. So this illustration here is kind of an exaggeration, but the same kind of idea on what the Spanish and other Europeans may have done when they were landing on in the New World, claiming the territory for their respective countries. Okay, so we're going to start talking about the Spanish. So in Florida, Florida was discovered by Juan Ponce de Leon in 1513. He was searching for the Fountain of Youth. However, his initial reason for going there was to find gold and other kinds of riches and natural resources. The Fountain of Youth was just kind of something that came up later from a rumor that he heard, and obviously he did not find anything for that. He did try to establish a colony, but it was not successful, and he ended up being killed by some Native Americans. Another rumor that people had heard about these legends about great riches in the Americas were the 7 cities of Cibola. And the legend said that there were homes and streets were made of gold, jewels and things decorated many of the buildings. And the Spanish searched for this city from Florida all the way to Texas because they had already established some colonies in Mexico. And Francisco Vasquez de Coronado was one of those Spanish explorers who actually set out from Mexico and searched out the western part of the United States for the 7 cities of Cibola. He went with a priest named Marcos de Niza, who claimed to have found this city in New Mexico. However, after 7,000 miles of travel and many, many years of exploring, they only found 7 Pueblo villages, which obviously were not made of gold. Though along the way they did leave various soldiers who founded presidios, which are walled forts to protect the claims of the Spanish. Back on the other side, the east coast of the United States, in 1565, Pedro Menendez founded St. Augustine, which is in Florida, and it is known as the oldest permanent settlement in the United States by Europeans. Okay, so the impact of Spanish on Native Americans, there were positives and negatives. The positives were that the Indians learned about new tools, crops, and raised sheep for wool, because remember, sheep was a new resource that Native Americans had never seen before. I'm going to go back to the Columbian Exchange from the first couple of sections. The Spanish learned new techniques for farming, which proved very valuable and which were essential in order for these Europeans to be able to survive in these areas. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing is debatable, but the Spanish missionaries converted many of the Native Americans to Catholicism, to Christianity, and this picture on the bottom here is that of a typical Spanish mission that you still may be able to see in some areas out in the West. Okay, the negative impacts were much larger than the positive impacts. The Native Americans were used as slave labor in many cases. Those who refused to convert to Christianity tended to be whipped or could have been killed or exiled. Many died just flat out of European diseases that they didn't have the immunity systems for. Again, that Columbian Exchange we talked about last time. And many Indian groups attacked the Spanish for the poor treatment, because obviously the Native Americans just didn't lay down and let the Spanish treat them that way. They did try to resist and attack back in many cases. However, due to the improvement of the weapons that the Spanish had and the armor and things, the Native Americans usually were not successful in these attempts. And that's it for section 2.3.